Welcome to Reset Today with Stephanie J. You've just tuned into the show that allows you to reset in any area of your life. So come on and join me. Hit that reset bell and get ready to start fresh. Are you having a good day? I certainly am. It has been a wonderful day. Nothing really exciting happening. Just a great day to be alive. And I don't think I've quoted this in a while. I like this saying. Someone said, any day above the dirt is a good day. And I don't know about you, but I'll take that any day. I'm just glad to be alive. And I'm also happy to have another opportunity just to speak with you. I'm grateful for my listeners. I signed on earlier to my desktop to record a brand new day with Stephanie J. And I saw a banner from Spotify and it told me to click on to check. They had some statistics available and it said, your voice is resonating around the world. And it said in 4 countries and it had 4 hearts lit up on the globe. So that brought a smile to my face. I'm always grateful for whatever God decides to do with these podcasts. And I'm just happy that you're here. And so before I get started, let me tell you quickly where my podcast can be heard. A Brand New Day with Stephanie J can be heard on Anchor, Spreaker, Spotify, Breaker, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Castbox, Google, Apple, and JioSaavn, JioSaavn. Reset Today with Stephanie J can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, Deezer, JioSaavn, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Facebook, and YouTube. And thanks to everyone who has a hand in this and makes it possible for us to podcast and share our views and our hearts. And so I decided last night that I wanted to do another episode, at least, on real men. And if you haven't had an opportunity, there are 2 episodes prior to this on real men. And the reason it came to me is because I was listening to my Words of Promise Bible CD, and it happened to be the one on Ephesians, and it has several books on this one CD, and I believe it goes up to the book of Titus. But it seemed like every time I would wake up out of my sleep, because I put the CD on repeat, I would be hearing things from 2 Thessalonians or 1 Thessalonians. And on A Brand New Day, I did episodes regarding this called Sounding the Alarm. But I decided on Reset that I wanted to talk about the Apostle Paul a little bit. The last episode, I think I talked a little bit about Peter and Elijah, Ahab, and I wanted to talk about the Apostle Paul's life because I believe that he represents men in so many different facets, and I think he's a pretty fascinating figure in the Bible. And if you are familiar with the story, you already know a lot about him. He was a very, very educated man. He came up under, the Bible tells us, under Gamaliel. and he was also a Pharisee. He was a very, very religious man. The Bible talks a little bit, gives us a little description of him. And he was a short man, short in stature. And he also had some type of ailment, maybe some type of physical disability or a handicap. And I'm not sure how that affected him. He makes reference to it in several scriptures. And at one point he says, he had a thorn in the flesh, and he prayed to God 3 times to remove it. And God chose not to remove it. And he said, my grace is sufficient for you. So, he had some stuff going on, men. And if you find yourself in that boat, hang tight, because I want to encourage you in this. I'm only doing this to encourage you. And I hope that you find inspiration in something that the Lord is giving me to speak to you, because this is definitely geared toward you men. And I'm not gearing this to one particular race. Men in general. If you are a man, God made you a man, then this message is for you. And before I get into it, I want to recommend a book to you. This is some information that I came across. I'm going to say it's been about 12, 13 years now. It's way before my son was born. He's 11. In fact, it's been more than 13 years, because when I first got the information, I was just kind of starting to see my husband around this time. We were starting to, do music and stuff together. And I had come across the information, and I purchased a book for him. At some point, he lost it, or it was stolen or something like that. And I ended up ordering him another one, and I ordered it for my son, and I ordered a copy for a guy in the neighborhood, and I ordered, for a couple other guys. And then I gave out the information to several guys in conversation. And just recently, I started talking with my cousin Terrence, and I was telling him about the book. And he's like, well, cuz, why don't you just order me a copy? And so I did, and I sent it to him. He got it, I guess, almost 2 weeks ago. And he sent me a text and said, the book is great, cuz. And so I really think that this is a great read. It is full of information. And very quickly, I know I talked about this in another episode. I'm holding a copy in my hand because I ordered this copy for my 11-year-old son. And it's something that I wanted us to do as a family study. And the book is called Return to Glory: The Powerful Stirring of the Black Race. And the book is written by Joel A. Freeman and Don B. Griffin. Joel is a Caucasian man, and Don is an African American man. And I was in my kitchen. This was many years ago. My children were around, and I was cooking, and I had the radio on. And there was an interview going on with these 2 men. And I'm listening, and it sounded good, and the information was about, basically how powerful the black man was, and their origins, and the African, heritage of the black man, and biblical scriptures backing up what was being said. And what caught my attention was when the interviewer said, so Joel, you being a white male, how did you come across this? And I was like, what? This is a white man talking about the black man like that? And it really piqued my interest. So I went and ordered, a copy of the book, and I read it myself. And I was just recently telling a pastor, he was saying that he wanted me to come along and help him with some of the a program that he wanted to do for men that he was trying to bring into his ministry after a conversation we were having. And I recommended this book, and I told him, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's material out here. And I just felt like this material was so powerful that it needs to get out. And so if you're hearing that, women, mothers, wives, it's a good investment. If you, like me, you like to buy your husband books and, DVDs, things like that. And I'm not saying it, I know we can do this. I'm not doing this, and I'm not saying for you to do this. Don't go, don't go out and buy it and shove it in his face like, here, you need to read this. You need to get your act together. You need to understand. Now, I'm not saying that, but it's like, here, baby. I was listening to Stephanie J's podcast, and she was talking about this book and how interesting it was, and how she heard this interview, and how she purchased copies for her husband and other men. And so, I was at the bookstore. I was on Amazon, and I just decided, and guess what? You don't even have to buy new copies if you don't want to. I used to do that a lot, but because I'm an Amazon shopper, and I go just like Sunday, I found a huge like vintage style bookstore, and I went and bought Bibles and books and stuff. I will buy used books. They have to be in mint condition though. I keep my books really nice, and I don't like messed up books. So I will order used copies of some things on Amazon, but I always go for the used, looks new or very new. I don't do acceptable, and I rarely do good. So I want the books that are in the best condition, and that's normally what I get. And so it's just a suggestion. It can't hurt. Anything that we can do, ladies, to help build our men up, because like a lot of things that I've read through the years and blogs and shows, and I agree with that. And I am not, hear me men, hear me, I am not in no way saying that men should not be responsible for or own up to their stuff. I am not saying that, but our men in so many areas have taken a beating. They have been beat down. Yes, we know all about the slavery. We've had so many documentaries and things like that. It has been a hard road, and I try to, now encourage women. I didn't always get it. I didn't always get the message, but I get it now. And it's like, women, I even have a poem that I turned into like a CD where I put my poetry to music, and it's called Simply Steph Love and Relationships. And one of the poems on there is entitled Let Me Lay My Head, basically talking about giving our men a place to rest. No, don't, just attack him and hit him over the head with every little thing soon as he walks in the door, especially if he has an outside job or business out of the home, and things like that. So we want to try to be a little more sensitive, especially in this day and time where there may be even more of a load falling on their shoulders. And then on the flip side of the coin, and I've been on all sides of the coin at almost 50, I know what it's like to be married. I know what it's like to be single. I know what it's like to be separated. I know what it's like to be divorced. I know every spectrum of it. The single mom. I know what it's like to be married and still raising the children, still having the responsibility while working outside of the home or doing my own business while my husband's working. I had